Okay, there we go. It looks clean now. Definitely looks clean on my end. So I'm not sure why. Folks, again, good afternoon, everybody. Having I think we should be okay. We're just having a little bit of a tricky situation here with our radio connection, but I think we should be good to go at 12:06. And I believe so. The news is really remarkable what's happening right now. And folks, we're going to okay, good afternoon, everybody. 12:06. You're listening to the John DePietro Show. Excuse me. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Now, again, remember, you can always listen online at our website, depetro.com. We have a clean connection going on right now. It's amazing what sometimes it puts us through as JR and I try to secure a strong connection, but I think it is a very, very strong connection, as a matter of fact. Folks, yes, we should be good on this Thursday. We don't want to miss anything just because it is remarkable and things are happening so quickly right now. So Biden is on the ropes. He is absolutely, let me just, I would just want to adjust that. And I just want to put Thursday, and it is. He is, it's an unknown, absolute unknown what's going to happen right now with this presidential race. You know, the Trump people were actually, the Trump campaign, they were on the money when they were hesitating on whether or not they were going to accept a debate between J.D. Vance and Vice President Kamala Harris. And I want to give you my thoughts on this, but we are just signing on. And this is one of those days, as a matter of fact, that the news is so quick and rapidly developing that I want to just make sure that we're going to stay up on everything right now, because it is pretty significant what's happening. And I'm going to try to explain what I think. Oh, wow. Okay. And that's even different. So Kelly Meyer, News Nation, the White House just called an extraordinary early lid. And that was 2 hours ago. We're not expected to hear from the president today. So he's self-isolating in his home in Rehoboth with COVID. So that is obviously very, very significant. But the latest now, and I want to bring you up to speed, folks, because the news is literally changing right now. It's not your imagination. It's actually changing hourly almost right now on what is happening. And the news that we're going off right now at 12:08 on this Thursday could end up being different news than what we're gonna have by before the 1 o'clock news. So we want to stay up to speed. Again, I want to thank Miguel Degnan, my nice birthday card. Right, there it is. We'll play that later. Folks, but there's significant news regarding the president. Obviously, last night was really powerful and amazing, with especially the Gold Star families. And I think J.D. Vance is proving to be, I mean, long way to go, but a really, really strong pick based on what we saw last night. But this portion of the Real News at Noon, and it's brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Locally sourced vegetables, sweet corn, native tomatoes. Folks, they have it all. 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Annuals, perennials, trees and shrubs, hanging pots, 10-inch, 12-inch moss baskets. They also have large selection of beautiful patio pots. Family-run business. And right now, what a remarkable selection, extraordinary selection of locally sourced vegetables that they have available for you. I really strongly recommend their tomatoes and sweet corn. Folks, vegetable plants and herbs. They also have tropical mandavillas, everything you need. They're a full-scale nursery. Excuse me. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Now, quick plug for the website, depetro.com. There was a homicide in Pawtucket. We have that story. Also, take a look at those East Providence illegals that East Providence police had to deal with. We have their mugshots up. I was told not a word of English from any of them. And then, of course, they pretend that they have to, I can't breathe. I need to go to the hospital. Anything to try to get out of sitting in a jail cell. But check it out on the website, DePietro.com, which is brought to you by the Cowesett Inn, 226 Cowesett Avenue, West Warwick. Folks, lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge. They're waiting for you at the Cowesett Inn. All right. Now, the latest regarding President Biden. I want to go through some of the latest headlines. Now he has COVID. He looked even more frail than usual, than normal last night, when not only was he literally like crawling off the plane and then the helicopter, he couldn't even get into the SUV. I mean, at this point, it's ridiculous. Now, I shared on just some other Katzenberg, big fundraiser out on the West Coast, Jeffrey Katzenberg, warned Biden, the money's drying up. A huge part, you have to go back 1 month ago, before the debate, 1 month ago, they felt that their advantage was they had a money advantage on President Trump. That was true. And they also obviously felt it was going to be neck and neck. This election 1 month ago was supposed to be that they were going to make the election entirely about President Trump, that he would be the focus. And you actually even heard him with Lester Holt when he was saying, like, what are you guys doing? You're not even supposed to be focused on me. Their whole game plan was nothing about President Biden, and the whole focus, he thought, and they thought, and the Biden campaign thought, was that they were just going to make it about President Trump. Then obviously we had the debate, but it's very significant is you have to understand where the leaks are coming from. The leaks are not coming from the White House. The leaks are not coming from the White House. Now, I shared on the Facebook page, Axios, who has excellent reporting, someone is leaking this to them, and that can't be ignored. Someone wants it out that Nancy Pelosi, that Chuck Schumer, that some of the real power of the Democrat Party are in fact telling the president to leave the race. Because remember, they're also feeling pressure from they're feeling pressure from all of the Democrat Party is at stake here. So I know a lot of people many times feel that there's the person behind the curtain, and this is all set up this way. Power is a funny thing. I go back to The Godfather, where they say power can't be given, it must be taken. And I'm going to touch on that. But this Axios story, AXIOS, behind the curtain, top Dems now believe he will exit. Make no mistake about it. The Democrat Party, behind the scenes, now they are trying to push him out. Several top Democrats privately tell us the rising pressure. Party congressional leaders, close friends will persuade him to decide to drop out of the race, maybe even as soon as this weekend. This could be his final weekend. Now, again, I want to be really clear about this. It doesn't mean he's leaving the White House. He's not resigning. Just won't be the candidate anymore. He has all the delegates. You also have to look at Biden. They hold all the cards right now because he has all the delegates. He's still the nominee. And right now, he and Joe Biden and the aides, they don't, right up until this point, you've seen the interviews. He's very indignant, very stubborn, and to this point has no plans to leave. And let me also just say this, by the way. If you're Biden, okay, he stepped aside in 2016 and Hillary lost, and then he came in 2020, regardless what you think, but he ended up in the White House. It's not like there's all these people out there that could run and win. So if you're Biden, the last time you could really argue that maybe he didn't fully enter the 1988 race for president. He dropped out because of plagiarism charges. But the guy hasn't lost. When's he ever lost an election? So I say that because if I'm them, meaning if you're Team Biden, who is it that's telling you should leave the race? President Obama? Well, President Obama was the one that told you shoved you aside so Hillary could run. The 81-year-old president now self-isolating with COVID. As I've said, I don't fully believe that. I think he was told that. Maybe he has it, maybe he doesn't. I believe they're trying to buy time. I believe that Jill Biden in the inner circle are trying to stop the bleeding. So now behind the scenes, the private message, top leaders of the party believe he can't win, can't change public perception of his age. And all that's true, by the way. The president is being told if he stays in, former President Trump could win in a landslide. I also want to say, and I'm not defending Biden, but I'm certainly not convinced that there's someone out there who's a viable candidate, by the way, a viable candidate. I'm going to get to that, who actually could win this. I mean, there is some thinking that, all right, they're going to lose. So what's the difference if it's Biden or someone else at this point? Democrats fully expect polls after the Republican National Convention to show a possible blowout that could also bring down Democrats in Congress. That's what's really at stake here. It's the down ballot. It's hurting the Senate, hurting members of the House. The number that can't be ignored, nearly 2/3 of Democrats want Biden to withdraw from the presidential race. So Chuck Schumer told Biden on Saturday it would be best if he dropped out the day. That was actually before the assassination attempt. Now, here's the question. Who leaked that Chuck Schumer had that conversation with him? Who leaked it? Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Also, we're told she's also worried about donations drying up. Who leaked that out? She told Biden, Nancy Pelosi, former Speaker, told Biden he could destroy Democrats' chances taking back the House, not the White House, the House. Who put that out there to Axios? Somebody did. Hakeem Jeffries, House Minority Leader. More subtle message. Former President Obama has spoken loudly with his silence and his former aides trashing Biden in public. Bill and Hillary are doing what Obama's doing, and so are their former aides. So now they're actually saying it's very possible this weekend, as he is in Delaware, that he, in fact, could decide. But supposedly he's asking, but do you think she could win? Do you think she could win? Now, I want to see where they link opinion. Biden's defiant delusion. Oh, David Axelrod wrote that. David Axelrod wrote for CNN his defiant delusion. He is. David Axelrod was the brains behind Obama, the Obama campaign. And there he is out there calling him delusional. So, and I also want to log, where is the story that the Clintons' former aides, Biden's path to re-election has all but vanished. Okay, guest essay. So there's another person with the Clintons. But here's the part that I think is really important, because people have, and we're going to talk about it. I think it's still, by the way, I think it's nothing is really official. You have to realize that right now. You have to realize that right now, between President Biden, his chief of staff, the first lady, can anybody actually get them? Get the Bidens? Can either one? Can anyone? We're having one minor. There we go. I'm not sure exactly what's happening, JR, but there we go. We had a minor glitch, and for some reason it keeps everybody just hold on one moment. I'm not sure why it keeps doing that. Everybody, I want to tell you as I just fixed this, we had a minor problem there, and I want to remind you about, I did receive an email about someone questioning that they wanted to have some work done on their home. Who did I recommend? And folks, it's AJ Drywall, Plasters and Home Improvement. Call them today, 401-323-3700. 9252. 401 323 9252 for AJ Drywall and Home Improvement. So maybe you have an unfinished garage, maybe you have an unfinished basement, maybe you're just thinking of you want to improve your home, whether it's painting, remodeling, or your home or business. They can do acoustical ceilings. 401 323 9252. New homes, additions, commercial rehabs, improve your home. Or a lot of people are now adding on to their home. I just spoke with someone who they're selling their home, and the people that are buying it are planning on adding on a huge in-law apartment. Folks, AJ Drywall, Plasters, and Home Improvement. Give them a call today, 401 323 9252, especially what they can do with those acoustical ceilings that make a big difference. Maybe it's your basement. Maybe it's your garage. Maybe you just want all the rooms in your home painted, or maybe just some remodeling done. AJ Drywall, Plasters, Home Improvement, 401 323 9252. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. So, what would happen? Let's play this out. Let's play this out that President Biden this weekend, now again, he's not resigning. He's in office till January. Now it's just a matter of who he's going to pass the torch to. So the conventional wisdom right now, they believe that if everything stays as it is, he is going to lose to President Trump. There are problems within the Democrat Party. I'm going to try to lay them out just how I view them. And again, I want to be very clear. I'm not saying this is a path to victory. What I'm going to tell you, many times when you get into these discussions, I reflect to the way people treat it. If someone says to you, do you think the Patriots will beat Buffalo this weekend? And if you say, no, I don't think the Patriots are going to beat Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, their reaction is, oh, so you're a Bills fan now. No, the question is, what do I think is going to happen? Now, in this scenario, I believe President Trump, without knowing the whole thing and letting it play out, but this convention, the assassination attempt, J.D. Vance, the type of campaign that the Trump campaign has run, which has been very disciplined. And by the way, I've liked that he's sitting there listening. I want to hear his speeches tonight. And also, I think this is dynamite tonight. Kid Rock is supposedly going to be there. It's possible 50 Cent is going to be there. Dana White is going to speak. Hulk Hogan is going to speak. Now, Tucker Carlson, some people don't like him, but he's very popular with certain parts of the base. He's also very friendly with J.D. Vance. But obviously, all eyes on President Trump. And right now, in the battleground states, in certain districts, that's one of the reasons I like John King of CNN. Do you know there are districts in Wisconsin that President Biden won by 50 votes? And now, see, these are Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. You have different districts. Picture, for instance, take in Rhode Island, CD1, what's referred to as CD1, which is the northern part of the state, and then it goes East Bay. Imagine a scenario where if Biden had won by 50 votes, back in 2020. So in Wisconsin and in Pennsylvania and parts of Michigan, there are districts like that. And right now, they're showing President Trump in the lead. They think they're going to flip the script. And then that's going to, be the game changer. I am not convinced of that. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you in just a moment, folks. But this portion of the program is brought to you by FenceRI.com. Are you thinking of getting a new fence or getting a fence for your home or your business, your property? Is there a more Rhode Island name than FenceRI.com? Call them 401-732-0555. And remember, FenceRI.com, the premier fence and deck contractor. A deck is a game changer for your backyard. I can't even imagine now. When I go over to someone's home and they say, hey, let's go sit out on the grass. I'm like, sit on the grass? Why do you think God invented decks? So we don't have to sit on the grass. Folks, FenceRI.com. Remember, if you mention the John DePetro Show, $200 off. Wood deck construction, licensed and insured, 5-star rating, whether it's for you have a pool or a hot tub, or maybe one of those cold baths that you splash into the morning, or pet fencing, or privacy, or just security. Don't underestimate the security that a fence can provide. FenceRI.com. Give them a call, 401 732 0555. Look for them online at FenceRI.com or on Facebook, FenceRI.com, 401 732 0555. All right, this is the problem as I see it, that the Democrat Party right now, the way that I view this is the problem that I see that they are in. And that is, they never should have hid the fact that he is as advanced and failing as the president is. But that is really the fault of Jill Biden, the first lady. That's the fault of his staff. That's also partly the fault of certain leaders of the Democrat Party. Certainly could say the media plays in. They certainly weren't demanding. They didn't think it was odd he didn't do the Super Bowl interview. They didn't think it was odd he couldn't hold a press briefing. Once you saw the debate, everyone is shocked. They can't believe it. When George Clooney penned that op-ed in the New York Times, he said, the person at the debate was the person I saw at the fundraiser a while ago. But be that as it may, if they could have done it, if they had been honest about it. See, they really thought no matter how failing Biden is, both mentally and physically, we're going to make this whole election about Trump. And he's got his court problems and blah, blah, blah. And we're just going to pummel him with money and we're going to blast him out of the water and no one's going to look at us. And then when they didn't see the polls moving the way they wanted, they scheduled the early debate. But here's where it's really a problem the way I see. Kamala Harris, the Harris campaign, she has positioned herself as the heir to the throne. And the Bidens have essentially positioned her as the heir to the throne. Now, in 2020, what happened? If you remember, Biden, he really didn't catch fire till Nevada and South Carolina. It was Bernie Sanders on the debate stage, did well, right? Kamala Harris did not do great in 2020. So even Elizabeth Warren was better than Kamala Harris in 2020. Kamala Harris, you have to let these things be decided by the competition of a campaign. It doesn't work when you just try to anoint someone. Again, look at 2016 when Barack Obama said, I'm passing the torch to Hillary. What happened? There wasn't enthusiasm for her. She wasn't built to win, and Trump cleaned her clock. Look at the Republican field in 2015 and 2016. Who were the names you heard? Jeb Bush, Ted Cruz, John Kasich, Marco Rubio. Boom, Trump blew them all out of the water. Power cannot be given. It must be taken. That's why, by the way, that's why a lot of family businesses fail, because the person that then takes over is not the most qualified. It's just there's no competition of who's really going to be running the business. They hand it off to a family member. So now in this situation, Kamala Harris is not going to go quietly. Kamala, the vice president, she's not. And she's already had James Clyburn saying she should be at the top of the ticket if Biden leaves. Biden even said, well, if you can show me a poll where Kamala wins. So now he's roped in on this. So should she be at the top of the ticket? No. If Biden had said, I'm not going to run for re-election, as the way other people have announced that, right? And just stepped out of the way, do we really think that Kamala Harris on a debate stage, let's throw out some of the names that you've heard, whether it's, I'm not a fan of any of these people, by the way, but whether it's Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, or Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, or everyone's talking about the governor of Pennsylvania, there's Josh Shapiro, or then you have, the governor of Michigan. You also have Mayor Pete, transportation secretary, as much as he's a lightweight. You have Commerce Secretary Raimondo, though you don't hear a lot of people talking about her. You still have Bernie Sanders kicking around. My point is, I think those are all the names. You still maybe have Senator Amy Klobuchar, Minnesota. My point is, I don't think she would have emerged, meaning Harris, as the winner of that field. I don't think she would have been. I don't think she's that skilled. I think she's been a failure as a vice president. And one thing of having her as his VP, she hasn't helped him in any way. So now, but that being that as it may, when you have Donna Brazile saying there's no way that a woman of color is going to be sidestepped to be the top of the ticket, Harris is a problem for the campaign. Harris has always been a problem for the campaign, and she's not going to go quietly. She's number one, her and her aides are probably leaking a lot of the information. She's certainly not helping Biden. She feels that this is her chance. She feels, the vice president, that she can beat President Trump. Now, the key to me is who would actually be on the ticket with her as the VP. And that's where I think this whole conversation gets really interesting, because just looking at the dynamics of this, and this is really important, because that's the thing. To me, it's already decided. There's no way. If Kamala Harris, the vice president, right or wrong, whenever you do like whose turn is it and who's next, right? That's what happened in 96. It was Bob Dole's turn. And in 2008, it's McCain's turn. And in 2012, I don't know, Chris Christie, that was his window. Instead, he stepped back and let Romney win. There's a pattern that whenever that is done, it just doesn't prove to be successful. Harris, what has she done that would make her the person to be at the top of the ticket? You're not going to knock her out of there. Between Biden, they may flout that that's one of his conditions, that she be the top of the ticket. So I want to touch on next who would be the number 2 on the ticket, because I think that's where it gets really interesting. But folks, I want to remind you, if you are thinking of getting a new roof, call Royal Exteriors today, 401-533-9989. Royal Exteriors. Call Royal Exteriors today, 401-533-9989. Call Andrew for roofing or siding. Royal Exteriors, they're right in Johnston. Remember, with Royal Exteriors, where the customer is king or queen, Andrew is so knowledgeable, excellent customer service, using America's top-rated lifetime architectural shingles. First local residential roofer, 10 years experience, deal directly with the owner. Call Andrew today. Free estimate, Royal Exteriors, 401-533-9989. Royal Exteriors, where the customer is king or queen. And when you look at their reviews, there is a consistent theme with Royal Exteriors, and that is customer service, one-on-one dealing with you. If you're listing right now on this Thursday, July 18th, and maybe you have been thinking of getting a new roof for your business or your home or siding, at least get Andrew in the mix. He's very earnest, he's reputable, he is dependable, he's very knowledgeable. I have full faith and confidence. You're not going to get a better roof. Royal Exteriors, it's your castle, 401-533-9989, where the customer is always king or queen. Folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. So here's what I think becomes interesting is, and we're going to find out, if in fact, I know all focus should be on the Republican convention. And by the way, I think last night, all right, hold on. I want to check something I'm just seeing going across. Somebody has a scoop on what, and a lot of this stuff is being leaked. Barack Obama has told allies in recent days, this is the Washington Post, Biden's path to victory has greatly diminished. He believes the president needs to seriously consider the viability of his candidacy. The two presidents have only spoken once since the debate. Now, what's significant about that? So what's the significance of that? Well, that's the Obama people leaking that to the Washington Post. That's what that is. So, but notice the way it's worded, that he wanted it worded that he conveyed. Obama doesn't want, like, what? Like, is he being silent? That the path to victory, the path to victory is greatly diminished, and he needs to consider. He's not saying get out of the race. He's just, Obama wants to float to the Washington Post. That, I shared with him that, it could be a rough go, but it's his decision. They want to keep trying to say that. So, but here's what I think really needs to be looked at. You're looking at how much, here's what we're going to find out. Is it all just talk? The Democrat Party, when they're talking about that they really need to, quote, stop Trump, they need to stop Trump. They realize now that the mess that they have gotten themselves into with Biden, I want to be very clear. I'm not saying their last-ditch efforts could be or prove to be successful. But I think, let's just play this out. If you are Nancy Pelosi and Schumer and President Obama and the Clintons, and let's just say they're all in a room, and they're really looking at, we have to stop Trump. More about trying to stop him as opposed to coming up with a viable ticket. Now, it's very possible. Someone floated this out, and I don't know what to make of it, but we're going to find out. See, to me, Harris is not going to be moved off. You're stuck with her. I don't think she is the strongest. I think there are other people that would be stronger at the top of the ticket. But if she's who you're stuck with. So now, who is the best that you could make as the VP? So I actually, and what time is it? This has been floated out. Someone sent me an email. It's 12:37. That if they really were trying to stop President Trump, again, I'm not saying I believe this would prove to be successful, but there was actually talk that President Obama would agree to run with Kamala Harris as her VP. Now, they feel he would say it's not the demands of the presidency. He was president for 2 terms, but it doesn't preclude him from being the VP. So Obama could view it as, he's from Chicago. The convention's going to be in his hometown. I'll go to that convention and get everybody fired up. I'll go out on the campaign trail, September, October. I have money. I have the Secret Service. He likes to campaign. Like, I can gin up the base. I'll do the donors. I'll get the money in. People would feel more confident, almost like as her mentor. A lot of people, I'm just thinking this out, playing this out, that would be thinking, I'm not comfortable making her the president. However, if Barack Obama were the vice president, maybe I'd be a little more comfortable with that. Maybe he says, I'm only going to do it for 1 term, like to get her in, but most importantly, to stop Trump. Maybe he even says that that's not happening. Maybe someone just sent me Michelle Obama. You're not, anyone that says that, you're not listening. You're not stepping over Kamala Harris. Michelle Obama, will these rumors ever go away? You're not stepping over Kamala Harris. I've been hearing this now for how long? Michelle Obama. She has repeatedly said she doesn't have interest. You're not going to. Do you think Kamala Harris is going to step aside and let Michelle Obama take over? What would you think her staffs are? There'd be too much infighting. But here's the problem. The people that float this type of stuff out, then they never, these are the same people that said President Biden was going to resign by Memorial Day 2021. He never resigned. President Biden will resign by the end of January 21 so Harris can take over. Hasn't happened. President Obama's got, they are the equivalent of the people that just keep saying the world will end tomorrow. It's not happening. You're missing the larger picture. That's not it. They are stuck. I think Kamala Harris, she is not the strongest person that they could put up. However, the situation they have gotten themselves in, that's really problematic. That is really problematic because she's a problem. And you can't ignore when you have like that, Representative Clyburn and some of these others. These are people. He's a large, loud voice with people of color. He's a loud voice for the quote black vote. You're not going to just like step over that guy. It's not going to happen. So I can't believe I'm already getting messages like that. Anyone that says that, you're not. It's these people that they're not doing that. You're not looking what's going on. Don't you see what's happening? They've been trying to hint to get Biden out of the race. He won't leave. By all accounts, this was supposed to be on cue. He disappears. You underestimate the power, what goes with the power. You live at the White House. You can do, the way you travel, the way you live. That's not easy to give up. When presidents leave office, they have a tough time with it. No one does it willingly. No one does it willingly. Folks, this portion of the program is brought to you by Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. If you're listening right now and you're having problems with your feet and or your ankle, contact Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists today. They're right in the Smithfield Medical Center, Route 5 in Smithfield. Beautiful building. These are 3 board-certified podiatrists, and they take all health insurance. If you're having a problem, and if you're having a problem with your feet or your ankle, it cuts into your quality of life. It just does. So with Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists, they can perform all aspects of skin conditions, bunions, hammer toe, fracture, sprain, save time, avoid the ER. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. Call them today, 401-949-3220. 401-949-3220. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists. And remember, 3 doctors available to serve you. Many patients walk out of the office that day feeling good. Now, if you're having problems with your feet, I want to discourage you from going to one of these stores where then they just sell you very expensive inserts. That's not a doctor. That's just a clerk who's selling you a very expensive insert. Folks, Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists, 401-949-3220. As I've told you, I'm very active, 7 to 8 miles a day. And the way that you can't be active like that if you're having a problem with your feet. Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists, 401-949-3220. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Now, 2 other quick reminders. Someone, let's see, Lisa sent me an email. She's going to have her family over for a big, I guess her daughter graduated. They're going to have a party. Who is it that could treat her property for ticks and mosquitoes? Lisa, you want to contact Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. They'll treat your property. I share their Facebook page, or you can call them 401-426-2032. Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. They do a fantastic job. And then also Benjamin sent me an email. He's thinking of taking his son to the Red Sox road trip in Baltimore. And do I know if there's any seats available? You can call and find out, Benjamin. August 16th through the 18th, round trip motor coach transportation, tickets in the all-you-can-eat suite, tickets in Saturday's game at 7 o'clock, 2 nights at the Marriott Sheraton, Marriott Inner at Harbor, and you walk to the game. I've gone on the trip. It's a great trip. 401-274-TRIP and online at 274trip.com. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. I'm almost like ready to block people that put stuff like this. If Michelle Obama went for the presidency, she should win. You're missing the point of the fact of the matter is that it's not happening. It's not, she's not stepping over Kamala Harris. It's just, I can't stand that type of stuff. There was someone, out on social media saying that, and she was this weird, I wonder if I could still find it, this weird individual, this woman, and she's so strange, and people were sending it out there and distributing this, and someone sent it to me. Oh, it's decided. And it was that Barron Trump was going to be chosen for VP. I mean, number one, clearly that didn't happen. Number one. Number two, he's too young. It was never happening. But what's frightening to me is this deranged maniac, that this woman that put this out there. No one ever goes back and says, hey, wait a minute. Didn't you say that Barron Trump was going to be? I mean, it's just so ludicrous. But I know that there's definitely an audience for this type of thing. And the same thing, these people that are sending me information saying that the shooter didn't act alone. The person that's out there saying that, there's a reason why. I'm not going to say who it is. I recognize him. He used to be on a national network. There's a reason why he's no longer on a national network. Folks, always be suspicious of these individuals that put out information that no one else has. So listen, there were a lot of mistakes. The woman who's in charge of the Secret Service should absolutely be. I don't know why she hasn't been fired already. You know why she hasn't been fired? Because Biden is not up to the job. That's why. She should not be there. I mean, everything we're hearing is just so outrageous. We've learned a lot more. There was also, a lot of things. There was a story that I saw. He'd gone to Home Depot and bought a ladder. Now it turns out that he didn't buy a ladder. He climbed up on an air conditioning unit. They were watching him. You can't have a scenario where the Secret Service is now trying to blame the local police. They're the ones that are supposed to take precedence over this. And also, let me get back to the VP selection. For instance, right now they're putting it out there. Gee, maybe the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, would be the VP. Josh Shapiro, to me, is not going to move the needle. Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, he's not going to move the needle. Now, if they go with him and Harris, that's not doing anything. I just wonder if, in fact, the Democrat Party, if it's going to be Harris, would try to come up with some type of novelty of someone. And it's, what I mean is, they're not doing it to govern. They're just doing it to, in essence, try to steal the election. Here's this nut lady who was saying all this stuff.
I believe it's because Donald Trump is going to name Barron as his running mate.
What?
And challenge the Supreme Court to deny it. When he...
All right, I'm actually gonna delete that. I mean, I can't stand looking at her. It's so whacked. I don't know who that person is. Someone had sent it to me. Right now, it does seem to be a free-for-all within the Democrat Party of who, what direction they should go. But I want to come back to the reason why Kamala Harris, the vice president, one of the reasons why she would fail, and she would fail, is because if they did the actual process, you have to let them play it out. You have to let them slug it out. If they had an open campaign, if it was anyone could be in it, anyone could run. She doesn't win. She's not good on her feet. She's not polished. She has one issue. She would try to make the election about abortion. And right now, it sure sounds as though President Trump and J.D. Vance are trying to, remove that. If you look at the Republican platform had to be pro-life. By saying let the states divide, they're taking it off the table. So I don't think that that is an issue. Kamala Harris, she came out with great fanfare in 2020. The only reason why she is the vice president is because there was the summer of George Floyd, and President Biden said, first he said, I'm going to select a woman, and then he said a woman of color. If he hadn't done that, he was looking at someone like Elizabeth Warren. Believe it or not, he was actually looking at someone like a Gina Raimondo. So now, here's the other thing, and I recognize right now, there's a lot of anti-Raimondo people out there. However, if you put Kamala Harris on a debate stage with Gina Raimondo, with the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, with the governor of Pennsylvania, Shapiro, she doesn't finish first. She has that weird cackly laugh. She's not a serious individual, and her record on the border is clear. So good. I mean, right now, Team Trump is in a great situation, because if it is Biden, Trump wins. If it's Harris, the one thing that I would be curious about is how they come together at a convention. If they make Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, the VP candidate, simply because they feel he can take Pennsylvania, I still think it's Josh who. I mean, I don't know a lot about him. Most people don't know who he is. The most airtime the guy's ever gotten was because of the assassination attempt in his state in Butler on Saturday. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show, if you're looking to have a great meal, I want to remind you about Don Jose's Tequila, upscale Mexican cuisine, 45 high-end tequilas located 351 Atwells Avenue in Providence. It's Don Jose's Tequila. Remember, they have the back patio, Taco Tuesday, brunch on Sunday, and Monday through Thursday, $26.99, their three-course special. Don Jose's Tequila. Upscale, authentic Mexican cuisine. It's an electric atmosphere inside. It's a really fun place for a group, a celebration, a birthday. Don Jose's Tequila, 45 high-end tequilas. Stop in and see them. 351 Atwells Avenue, right there on historic Federal Hill. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Now, next hour, you're going to hear Dan McGowan of the Boston Globe. And Dan McGowan, I mean, totally unrelated to Biden, totally unrelated to what's happening right now. I mean, this is a fluid situation. This is a historic decision. But you're going to enjoy what's going on right now with the Providence schools, with Governor McKee. It's so embarrassing. And it's so beyond the pale. And as I think of it, it's not even just Governor McKee, by the way. It is still the lock that the teachers' unions have over the elected officials in Rhode Island. And President Trump, you know, would be a great Secretary of Education. How about Governor Youngkin was in the box last night? Someone like that. Maybe it won't be him. But President Trump, I think it was this has been a tremendous Republican convention, historic convention. And tonight it all tops off. But I also want to mention, when you saw those Gold Star families last night, that was so powerful. And the crowd spontaneously, saying the names of those killed in Afghanistan. And the press lets you forget that Biden kept looking at his watch. And the family said, he didn't even talk about the people killed. He just talked about his son. He shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be there. And I believe, even if they push him out of the way, and they're really pressuring now, I mean, they're doing a full court press trying to say, you can't win. What's unfair, by the way, the polls, they don't show Kamala Harris in a blowout by any means. I believe she's a worse candidate than Biden. I really do, because the elderly vote, a lot of older voters that might vote for Biden, they're not voting for Kamala Harris. They're not. They're not. You can't She hasn't done anything that would garner her to be the person that should be the next president. Now, the one thing I want to again point out is I just wonder who they may try to slide in. If they say it's going to be the governor of Pennsylvania, then that's not a winning ticket. If they say it's going to be Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, you can't have two people from California, so it's not him. If they say it's the governor of Illinois, no one knows the governor of Illinois. Now, granted, but people vote about the top of the ticket. President Trump right now is in a golden position. And I think tonight, this could be one of the all-time speeches. They're going to come out with a bounce. They're going to come out. I think J.D. Vance was a great pick. It's tough to get real talk just because the talk in Rhode Island is so negative. I was in my car the other day in the morning, and I actually heard down the dial in the host who happened to be filling in said, and this is someone who's supposed to be like a media person journalist, was saying, well, J.D. Vance just proved he's a big suck up. If you have someone saying that, that's not a serious take. That's not a serious conversation. J.D. Vance, that is a wildly impressive. He is remarkable, that guy. What he grew up with. This is the new breed of the Republican Party. It's out with the prep schools. It's out with the Chafies. It's out with the country club. It is more of the hardworking, self-made, smart, more rough and tumble. That is more of who the Republican Party is. And I think, I feel it's too bad that like Blake Filippi is no longer with the Republican Party, because he reminded me of that type. I liked him a lot when he was minority leader. Nothing against House Minority Leader Chippendale, but what you're going to see tonight with Hulk Hogan and Kid Rock and Dana White is it's more of the party. Republicans now will be, it's more of the party of, I know some people aren't going to get this, but it's more of like the party of the police and the military and, the NFL and the people that like the Tom Brady roast. And it's more of that. And the Democrat Party right now, to me, is just so lost. Folks, this portion of our program, remember, if you're thinking of getting your driveway paved, call J. Perry Paving today, 401-732-1730. 401-732-1730, letter J, J. Perry Paving. Free quote. Let's get that driveway paved. 401-732-1730 for J. Perry Paving. Licensed, insured. If you're listening right now on this Thursday and you're thinking of getting your driveway paved or your parking lot, J. Perry Paving. Free estimate, 401-732-1730. Well, folks, good afternoon. It's 12:59. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Now, coming up next hour, you're going to hear Dan McGowan of the Boston Globe. We're going to break for the 1 o'clock news. Now, the big news is this is possible that this weekend, President Biden may announce he is not going to seek re-election. He's not resigning, but he's not going to run. That would open up floodgates for the Democrat. He would release his delegates. All right, let's get an update in the 1 o'clock news. Are we doing Facebook Live later? Yes, but tonight is Trump night at the convention. All right, Dan McGowan of the Boston Globe. You're going to want to hear this coming up next hour. It's the John DePetro Show. We're going to be right back on the other side after the 1 o'clock news.